Welcome.
Oh yes, welcome, welcome,
Welcome, welcome.
welcome with the first official Use and Us podcast.
I'm honored to be here, thank you.
Oh, an honor to be here, man. Oh my God,
Yes, we
I'm
found a beautiful
impressed.
spot.
I'm impressed with what you created.
Thank you.
Together with your beautiful partner. I'm so impressed what you have done. I just got a tour of Use. Use is standing here next to us on a beautiful spot next to the sea. I want to give a little bit an introduction to Jeroen. Jeroen is, we met each other maybe 5 years ago.
Something like that.
While we were still studying, and we had immediately a good click. And now, 5 years later, we're both experiencing the dreams that we were only talking about.
Yes, it took us a while, and I have to correct you a bit. Our click wasn't that immediate. I remember the first time I met you in the introduction, you came up to me because I wasn't drinking alcohol back then, and you were.
Yeah.
And now we're both.
Now I'm not drinking alcohol, and you are.
Exactly, I'm enjoying the boozies a bit more. But you were like, I wouldn't say drunk, but let's say funly tipsy. You were coming up to me and you were introducing yourself to every introduction taker at that time, and I was like, this guy is crazy. This is totally not my vibe. But my vibe changed completely in that week of the introduction, and you also after the introduction became a lot more down to earth, and I know it's hard for people to comprehend that you'd be more down to earth after the intro, but for me you became way more aligned with my vibe. So after that we clicked really well.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. And it's for me impressive that we were then back in the Netherlands, and now we're here in the south of Spain in the winter. Sitting without our jackets on, enjoying the sun immensely. And I wanna start this podcast with a question about how to make your dreams reality, because it's such an important thing, and I feel a lot of people are not realizing how powerful they are in their creation. So can you take us through this process of when it was still a dream to live your van life, and now it's a reality, and what was that process and what was important in that process?
It's nice that you say what is important in that process, because my answer would be that the process is important. This wouldn't be possible if I didn't enjoy working towards this goal. It's important to set your goals in such a way, in my opinion, that the road to that goal is just as fun as achieving that goal. So I maybe didn't realize this before I actually achieved this goal, but I actually really enjoyed working on the van, and I realized that I really want to do more building and more creating, but more visual creating, because I was studying informatics. I liked programming, but I realized that building with my hands is really more my passion than building with my brain. So I would say make a goal where the road is just as fun as the goal itself is.
Wow, that's so important.
Yeah, it's really important, because then even if your dream fails, if you don't get to that goal, then your road to that goal has been a really fun time. And in my opinion, that's achieving your dreams, just having a really fun time while you're working towards your goals.
Wow, that's incredible. And if we can go a little bit deeper on that, you just went through that process. You're now here for the first month, experiencing the result of that process. How did that feel when
Amazing.
Yeah?
Amazing, yes. From the moment we drove away from the place that we've been working on the van, it felt amazing. It felt incredibly grateful to actually start living in the van. And important for us was also to be prepared for the life that we were about to start, because it's not all only perfection that you see in other van life videos, or maybe in our van life videos as well. It's important to be prepared for the things that might not be what everybody shares, because it isn't only positivity, and we were really prepared for that. And because we were really prepared for that, we didn't come across big hiccups or anything, unexpected hiccups, which made it like expected. And if you expect it, then you know what you get yourself into.
Incredible. And what was your process of kind of seeing the risk beforehand? Because there is a part of you only notice when you experience it, but on the other hand, you said you prepared very well for this. So
Yeah.
For the people that want to start such an adventure, how can they already plan out some of these risks?
Well, in my opinion, it's really important to listen from experiences from people that also lived the thing that you really wanted to do. For us, it was really easy because there are a lot of YouTube channels that also do van life, but it's important to listen to their full story, because they all really want to show how much fun it is, but they all also talk a lot about the things that aren't perfect, and it's really important to not neglect those things. Really listen to those things and take those things into account.
Beautiful.
So experiences from other people is massively important. It's always so important when you start on working on your dream, in my opinion, to always first start talking to someone who already did that thing, and then let them take you through the whole experience, and then decide if you want to do that, if you want to follow that path, if you want to go through that struggle, because working on your dreams is just a bunch of struggle.
Right. You have to choose your struggles.
Yes.
There's lots of dreams, lots of struggles. Which struggles are you ready to commit to?
Yeah. And what struggles are struggles which you can overcome and then feel completed by overcoming them.
Beautiful. So, in that case, we talked about kind of the preparation, and we can maybe dive a little bit more on that later, but now you're living it. I would love for you to highlight something that is way better than you expected it, and also something that even though you planned, you didn't expect yet, and it was kind of like a little bit of a disappointment, or not maybe disappointment, but something to adjust to.
Yeah. Well, two things come to mind that are better than expected, which I'm really grateful for. The one thing is we're living with two persons in the van, and I really expected that it would feel way more cramped in the van, because it's just a van and you're living with two people in there. We have an advantage that we have quite a big van, but still you can't work with two people at the same time in the van. You can't stand in the van with two people. But that's also something that we saw in videos, that it's not smart to be cleaning both at the same time in your van. So we knew that beforehand, and I thought it would have been more of a struggle. But it is actually pretty doable. You just have to accept, if the other one is cleaning, that you can't help them with cleaning, and that's fine. Just clean at another time. And another thing that I did not expect would be so nice is that I expected the spots that we're in to be that the percentage of shitty. Can I say shit in this podcast?
Of course, it's your podcast, man.
Okay. The percentage of shitty spots that we would end up in, I expected the percentage to be higher. I thought it would be like 7 days a week, and then maybe 1 or 2 days would be an amazing spot. But I think we've had at least half of the spots that we went to were really good and really nice. Maybe it's also my perspective on spots, that I'm not that critical on what makes a nice spot. But for now, it has been amazing. And the thing that is worse than I expected. Well, the thing that comes to mind is maybe power consumption. But that's not really a experience thingy. I don't think I really have things that I experience as less enjoyable. But I did expect our solar system to be able to produce more power. But that is just the reason that we expected. We researched the average amount of sun time you get, and then we calculated how much solar we needed. But we didn't take into account that in this winter the sun is way lower, than in the summer,
Mm.
and then you get less power. So in the winter we have to charge more often, but that's also not really a disadvantage because we can leave our fan running and then it charges by itself. So we just have to pay €1, €2 a day extra, and that's completely fine.
Right.
So it's not really that I have experiences that are worse than I expected them to be. No.
Incredible. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that as well.
Right.
I'm really lighting up whilst living in the van. I expected there to be more shitty things, but there's also like we have our really shitty days as well, but we also expected them to come. So it's not really a surprise that they come. They're just there, and we both know that after a while those moments will pass, and then the next day could be amazing again.
Right. Right. That's so true.
Yes.
It all passes. So I wanted to I'm impressed by many things, man. First of all, I want to celebrate your gratefulness. When you came here to Malaga, I noticed a level of gratefulness in you that was so much higher than the last time I saw you.
Mm-hmm.
It's very beautiful to see. Can you go a little bit deeper on gratefulness and what that feeling means to you, and how it is generated in you?
Of course, I think that the difference maker is really that now I'm living something that I worked really hard for. And I come from a life where everything has just been, well, I wouldn't say perfect, but really well manageable. As in, my parents are together, my parents have really nice jobs, they could send me to high school, to college, I had nice friends, I had nice relationships, everything was just fine, but it wasn't what I specifically wanted. And then at a moment that I decided to quit my studies, I started doing something that I really wanted to do, and I worked my ass off for 1.5 years to get to that point. And now I'm actually at that point. It all worked out, and all my blood, sweat and tears bloomed out in something really beautiful, better, way better than expected. And that's where the source of my gratefulness comes. It's also a thing that I come across every day now. I wake up living my dream. I go out with my van, I look at my van, living my dream. I look at my beautiful partner, living my dream. So the gratefulness comes across way more often than it used to be, because at the university, the things I would face on a daily basis was homework I knew I didn't want to do, work classes I knew I didn't want to attend to, and those all made places for things that embodies, in my opinion, gratefulness. If that answers your question.
Oh, definitely, man. And one thing that you touched upon there is, I think, very important and not less talked about. It's about leaving the status quo, kind of leaving the picture of success that is from a previous generation.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents are hard workers. There was way less jobs around them. We live in a generation where you can make money making cat videos online. That was not possible back then. So there's so much more possibilities out there.
Mm-hmm.
It can be overwhelming. At the same time, we live in a generation where hard work and going to school and going to a job and that picture is for a lot of people not working anymore. So what you touched upon there is that you kind of left this standard picture.
Yeah.
And now you're living the result of that. And I think it's very important for people to see what is on the other side, because most of the time such a step is met with a lot of fear.
Yeah.
So can you walk us first maybe through the fear and how that fear levels, or maybe not levels at all, with the amount of pleasure and joy you get from it on the other side?
There's a lot I want to say about what you just
please
said.
go on a rant, man.
First, about the fear. The fear is something that you have to just cross, because as you just said, we live in an era where there's just way more options for people like us, for young people, to do different kind of stuff. And hard work used to be defined going to school, getting good grades, putting hours into your job. But now hard work can be a lot of other different things. Hard work can also be for a man to spend a lot of time with his family and make sure his kids are okay, his kids get well fed and taken care of, get exercised really well, and for example their partner to be working all the time and then making it work like that. And I think to come over that fear is it is really important to realize that hard work will always be rewarded, no matter in what environment you are in. So as long as you keep working hard on the things that you really want to put an effort in, at some point you will be rewarded for that. Now I forgot the first half of what you said.
So I wanted to point you the fear that you maybe felt before stepping into this dream, to leave that status quo picture of school, job, promotion, to do something that felt more calling to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
First the fear, and after that the joy that you experience now for breaking that barrier, kind of like. So those two things.
Yeah, in my opinion, what took a lot of fear for me away was the vision that, well, not really a vision. I have the belief that you can do anything before you're 30 because you can always make yourself worth. You're always really flexible and you can learn a lot of stuff before you're 30. So in my opinion, you have to take all the risks you wanna take to achieve your craziest goals. For example, for me, it was living in a van. So I wasn't 30 yet, and I don't have obligations yet, like children, like a home, like a consistent job. So I can take those risks. And I also have the relationships to have a backup. So if it all didn't work out and I would have had a little debt or something, then I could always lean on other people, or I at least trusted that I could lean on other people, or I would have known that I would land on my feet in some way. But I also believe that after 30 you have to think a lot harder about these things. So you probably then maybe have a partner for 4, 5, 6 years, which you want to marry, you want to settle in a place maybe close to your family, you have a job that's working really well for you and you want to grow in that job. So you have to take more things into account. But for me, I'm 25, I just quit university, and it's not that hard to make risky decisions, because if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and then I'll try something new. It's not the end of the world to stop with something and try something new. This is the time to try everything you want, and maybe something sticks. It's way better to try 10 things and then make one thing stick than try nothing and then make the shitty thing stick.
Amazing. So you went, I'm happy you're in that position, and then you took the steps, and now you're living on the other side. And how the feelings that you're now feeling, are they completely worth it, moving through that initial fear?
I just wish I'd done it sooner.
Wow.
As in, the fear was the worst part. The moment where I started opening up about this fear, towards my people around me, towards my partner and towards my parents, those opinions were the most frightening for me. And once I opened up about my fears, they actually helped me make that decision, because they confirmed to me that they also saw that this wasn't my passion, and I should do something different. So yeah, I just wish I'd done it sooner.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah. Although I do have to say, I really thoroughly enjoyed all my time I spent in Nijmegen. So maybe I didn't wish I'd done it sooner, but I wish I'd fear less sooner.
Beautiful. So, in case somebody is watching and they also feel a dream, maybe it's not van life, but maybe it's opening an art, maybe it is van life, maybe it's opening an art gallery, maybe it's surfing, maybe it's something, but their mind is constantly like, but yeah, but I don't know what my friends are gonna think. Yeah, but I don't know if my parents will still accept me. What would you say to them?
It sounds maybe a bit negative, but in my opinion, you should always start looking at these things in an egoistic manner, because your experience from life is your experience from life. So your decisions are the most important. This also means, in my opinion, for example, that to make your experience better of life, you want to be happy all the time. So it's egoistic to be happy, in my opinion. But you get happy by helping people, by giving love to people. So giving love to people and helping people, in my opinion, is also an egoistic thing to do. But egoistic things are in that manner not negative anymore.
Right.
So in my opinion, you should always think really egoistic, but realize what that means for you.
Right. I remember also going through that barrier of thinking it would be maybe egoistic. I now call it egocentric. It's a little bit of a more peaceful word, but I get fully what you mean. As if you should put yourself on the first place.
Yeah, definitely. Because the happiest person you can be is the most valuable for the people around you.
Right. And you can only give from a place where you are accepting of yourself.
Exactly. Like the cliche, yourself. You can only love another once you love yourself.
Right. Yeah. It's this thing that it feels so cliche, but at the same time, it's such a deep truth.
It's cliche for a reason.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I wanna switch our attention a little bit to Yus. The beautiful buzz over there. Maybe we will get some shots in there as well.
Standing there in his golden hour.
Stunning white galleon over there on the on the mountain. I just saw it at the very beginning when you did nothing on it. You just bought the bus. I'm seeing it now for the very first time, and the amount of detail, the amount of things you thought through, including managing power, managing water, having an oven, like the thing is absolutely thought through in such a unique way. I was just standing there in awe, like, man, this is genius. Can you walk us through this process, how you made it so genius, so people can learn from that? Yes. Of course, it was a collaboration.
No, I was just about to say, it's really easy tip. Just get a Lisa. Just get a Lisa. Yes, I'm totally not the person who likes to think out everything. And if you start looking at the details of the van, it is in some points really not well thought out. For example, the cables are worked away in the cabinets and they're just loose in the cabinets, but you don't see that. But it's way easier to start your van build with first putting in the cables, because you put your furniture over that. And Lisa told me that we should do that because Lisa planned everything out, and that's like the kind of yin and yang balance we have. Right. That she plans everything out, and I'm more of an I want to take action guy. So the really smart worked away things are mainly Lisa's idea, and then I did them. So just if you want to do it well, get someone or ask someone how you should do it if you're not good at it, or think about it, spend your time on the preparation, because preparation is half of the work.
Right. And it's kind of, maybe it's good to have one planner and one action taker.
Definitely.
Decide which one you are and get the other one on board.
Yes, I agree. In some ways, I think that is the perfect relationship. But in other ways, I also really like watching couples that are really alike. But it's just this lifestyle or the building of a van would be hard. Well, not harder. Maybe the result of the van would be really different, because it maybe would have been a more collaborative building thing, but the preparation would have been way off, and they probably would have loved it then also, but the details that you talk about would have been less present.
That's amazing.
Yes,
I'm actually amazed also by your collaboration with Lisa, and because not only was there a good collaboration in the building of it, now when you're living it, you have very clear roles.
Yeah.
And you decided upon that. These roles are absolutely amazing. Maybe you can tell the people that are watching
Yes.
how you decided that and how it works, because I think it works very well for you guys.
It does.
And,
it does.
you created a lot of clarity on that.
Yeah.
So
We
let's share that.
We talked about this in our first video.
Beautiful.
How the role division works in our van, and we have the definition that work is work. Doesn't matter if you earn money with that work. Money is no factor in our relationship. It's just important that you put effort into whatever you do in a day. You always want to be equal, but in my opinion you should always put 60% effort in. So if you both put 60% effort in, then sometimes it comes along that, for example, it's someone's turn to do dishes, but out of yourself you say to the other person, I'm gonna do the dishes today, and then you give a little bit of happiness to that person. But if you assume you put 60% effort in your relationship, then it's also not unexpected for you to do so. So you give the other person a bit of happiness and you just play your role. So I committed to doing 60%, and I'm sometimes surprising Lisa with my extra work, and sometimes she's surprising me. The role division now is that Lisa works just on her data analyst job, and I try to do as much groceries and laundry and dishes and cooking, and I'm also trying to do the YouTube videos, the podcast we're doing now, and I'm driving all the way everywhere. I'm cleaning the van the most and all that kind of stuff. I'm just Henny Huisman, as we call it.
Right. Not a
Yes,
house
and I
father,
love
but
it.
a fan father.
Yes.
You're a fan father.
I really love it. I really love it. I really love doing just tasks with my hand that I can see are completed after I completed them.
Amazing. For all the people that are in Europe right now, would you recommend going to the places, like which places along your journey so far do you really recommend to van?
Well, we've been driving for a month and a half now. So
right, so it's early on, right?
Yeah, I really don't think I could be the person to give recommendations about that. But I have traveled in Europe a lot to the touristic parts of Europe. Yeah, I don't know. I would really recommend driving through Spain. As in, we Dutch people fly a lot to Spain. But it's so much fun to drive through the inland of Spain, because the coastline is, especially for a camper, is just too busy with old people in their caravan just sitting out the winter, and it's not really the thing we wanted. If you go a bit more inland, you have really cheap and sometimes free spots where you can just refresh your whole van and experience how a normal Spanish culture is, like the small villages inland with the super small supermarkets filled with those tiny grandmas talking about their day, and it's just really fun to also have the time to experience that instead of just going to Malaga for a weekend and then only seeing the Christmas lights. That's also really fun, and that's definitely a highlight from our travels. But I think it would be way more fun to experience everything about a country.
Oh my.
So it's not really a place, but more of an experience. Just take your time while traveling would be my advice.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. Enjoy the journey again.
Yeah, definitely. And don't feel hurried, because if a negative emotion takes over the little time you have, then your whole experience gets just less. And in my opinion, that's just not what I want to do. Some people go really well on that, as in they like planning a thing and then going to a lot of different things. For example, my brother may be a person like that, to just go out, be in a completely different culture for a week, do a lot of stuff, and then come back to his really rhythmic, normal life in the Netherlands. And some people really enjoy that, but I'm just not like that.
No, me neither.
Built different.
Yeah. And it's good to know how you're built, right?
Yeah.
It's good to know what works for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanna ask a little bit of an interesting question. I wanna ask you a question that a friend of mine always asks me, and it's such an interesting question. It's like, what is a question that you like? What is a question that you want to be asked, but someone never asks? Do you understand it? It's like, is there something that you really want to tell, but nobody asks? So,
I get your question.
yeah.
I get your question, but I and I want to give an answer, but I don't think there is. I'm really a person that, because if you want people to ask about a thing, then you're proud of something.
Right.
You want to show them something, and always when I want to show people a thing, I figure out a way to show them. So if I'm proud about a thing, then I'm gonna show them. But I'm also only put myself around people who can appreciate that, who can appreciate me being proud of something, and I'm always really appreciative of if someone is proud of something to me. Right. I think that's really important. If someone wants to show something, please show it because you're happy with that, and I want to share that happiness with you, and I'm gonna do that with other people. And if they can't appreciate that,
not your people,
not my people, definitely
not your folks.
No,
beautiful. Let's move to the last question.
Last question.
I would love to direct this question to all the people who took the time watching this very first podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for watching this. Thank you for watching this podcast.
Okay,
thank you for being interested. What would you give them as a message? What would you give them? Maybe they have dreams. Maybe they're already living their dreams, but they're doubtful. What would you recommend to them? I think I would say just the red thread of this conversation would be love your journey. I know this guy, also an influencer, he says love your journey a lot. Make sure you enjoy your journey, and then your goals will come. Even if they don't come, make it your goal to love your journey, and then set goals. As in we need another word for goals. As in, set your dreams and make it your goal to love your journey. That would be my advice. Beautiful.
Yes.
Great podcast, man. You're such a wise 25-year-old. I don't know how you did that. I learned
from the best.
Thank you so much for watching. My name is Phil. This is Jeroen, and we are here with the Use and Us podcast. Let's go. I'm so curious where you're gonna be.
Me too.
Let's enjoy this journey, man.
Yes.
Okay. Much love.
Bye
bye.
Hey, goeie podcast.
Goeie podcast, G.
Goeie podcast.
Goeie podcast.